Caw. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm going to need you to like and subscribe. Just click the little bell, like, subscribe, love our page. Come on, show us some love. We need your help because if you don't do that, I won't stop doing that. So just do it and then I can stop and then we can do normal intros. What's on the menu? We eat crow with Death's Door. Death's Door is a isometric, over-the-top kind of action-adventure game. The developer was Acid Nerve, and our publisher is going to be Developer Digital. This was released on all Xbox, Xbox One, Series X, Series S, and then on Windows. This game is a pretty interesting game, and then let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's go with roulette, Russian roulette day. Let's go... Patrick, what do you think of this game?
It's pretty interesting. It has a lot of puzzles, a lot of combat. It's got a little hint of everything if you think about it. I mean, there's adventuring, there's combat, there's, like I said, there's some puzzles, there's different weapons, a little bit of everything. RPG elements, you can put points into stats from all the souls you get, you know. It's got a little bit of everything. It could be difficult. So, I mean, when everybody was saying that it was a little Souls-like, I was like, how could this be Souls-like? It seems too simple. But the combat is where it is. Like the regular mob combat, not so much. The boss combat, I could see where they're getting that from. But in my opinion, it's nowhere near Souls difficulty, Dark Souls. Maybe think of it more of like a mashup of like Legend of Zelda and Dark Souls, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd even go that far as to say it's that much of a mashup. So I thought it was pretty good. So my initial impressions were pretty good. Decent mechanics. It's very simple, if you will. It's very simple, but at the same time, kind of hard. Shane, what are your initial thoughts on this one, man?
When originally saw it at E3, me and Nick, I think we're the only ones in our group, go, wow, that looks kind of cool. It was interesting. I take it back. I don't like it. You're right. It's kind of a hodgepodge of various genres. And I think that the Zelda Dark Souls, probably a good blend for it. Because of the view and the combat, I definitely think that's probably the right route, but I don't like it. I don't like Dark Souls for one. I don't hate it. It's just I'm not good at those. That's all on me. I'm just not good at those. I don't care for the game. I don't know. It's like when I saw it at E3, maybe I was just desperate for a good game. But when I saw it at E3, it looked a lot more interesting than it does when I'm playing it. I think the combat is unforgiving, and I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's diverse enough, varied enough. It seems, and it may just be because I suck. So let's keep that in mind. I'm not good at these games. I'm just not. But it just felt very button mashy. It felt like the arrows had no purpose. But I'm sure it came up later. I used it on the boss. That was the only time I used it was on the boss fights. The first boss we come to, the octopus thing, I got my ass handed to me. I couldn't tell you how many times. Just because the view made it hard for me to figure out where the tentacles always were. I didn't have a problem with some of the attacks. It was primarily when it would spread eagle on the screen, I would just have an issue. So, but I can't say it's a bad game. It's just a game that I'm not good at. It's just a genre that I'm not good at. If it was more on the Zelda spectrum of combat, I probably would have been better and I would have enjoyed it more. But the combat's a little too difficult for me because I don't like tuck, hit, roll, tuck, hit, roll. It's just, I can't force myself to play it that way. But, that's just me. What about you, Nick?
I loved it. I did everything in this game. I beat the game. I did there's after you beat it, stuff that you have to do to get the true ending. And I did all that. So I pretty much 100%ed this game. I did everything in it, collected all the stuff, all the weapons, there's stuff that you can collect in the game that doesn't have any really. Supposedly it's supposed to alter the kind of in-game stuff with all the shinies that they call it in the game, which is the stuff you collect. I collected all that stuff. I collected all the upgrades, collected all the weapons. So yeah, I love this game. It is kind of Dark Soulsy in a sense, it's kind of that Dark Souls kind of not quite as dark, not as quite as hard as Dark Souls, but still kind of on the line there with it. And the combat's kind of Dark Soulsy, and where you're attacking and then moving away and attacking and moving away, that type of thing. So, but in more of an isometric view, where Dark Souls is the third person. So, yeah, but ultimately, I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. I played it from start to finish and did everything in it. And I enjoyed the combat and the enemies and the bosses and the exploration. The only thing I would say, and some of these guys might concur with this, is the map. There's no mini map and there's no map to display, and the environments can be really confusing as far as where you're going and how did I get here, and I don't remember how to get back to X, Y, or Z. It's really difficult. So that's the only thing. I wish this game kind of had a mini map or maybe a map to help out with that, because there were a lot of times throughout the game where I would get lost as far as where I came from or where I was going. It's really kind of the aspect of this game where, in order to understand where you're going or where you're coming from, it's just repetitive going through those areas several times in a row, because you do go back to get other things as you unlock, kind of like a Metroidvania type of thing where you unlock other abilities and you can go back and explore various parts that you couldn't get to before. So you do get to backtrack throughout these areas. So, as you continue to do that backtracking, you continue to kind of learn where everything's at and which direction you're going. You kind of build a map in your head as far as, okay, I know where this is, I know where that is. But at the beginning, yeah, I mean, it could be really confusing as to know which direction you're headed, because there's just so much, and it's so wide and expansive that you can get lost very easily. But ultimately, I really like this game. It was a lot of fun. But Russ, what did you think of this one, man?
I think I'm in agreement with you. I mean, I did not get quite as much gameplay into it as I would have liked. This has been a pretty busy week, but the gameplay I got into it was absolutely just a blast to me. I mean, it's an indie game. I know what I'm going to get into it because, I mean, for an indie game, it seems extensive. There are some things to it. There is some technique. There is some challenge to it. I don't mind that challenge so much. It did get very frustrating initially. Yeah, I was like thinking, all right, man, I'm just gonna go in there and just start, just ravaging everything. And then after I realized, oh wait, this game's not built like that. You need to actually kind of put some theory into it and some process. I started to get kind of used to it. Getting one of the very first special ability, that's a blast, because not only do you use that to defeat things, you can also use that to catch like small things that are like finds or treasures, or not necessarily treasures, but maybe they're puzzles, part of the puzzle in the maze. I got to, I think, the third boss, which I wish I would have got more into. The second boss, it took me probably 20 times to beat the second boss, but I'm telling you right now, I was more mesmerized by just the castle and the way that looked. And it was just a blast to me. I was more mesmerized by that, and I had trouble finding some of those the warnings and stuff like that, because I was just like, wow, this is really ingenious. The game kind of balances between the fact that you're a reaper and then some fun to it as well. So there's that in there. I'm gonna keep it installed, and I hope to finish it. I hope maybe have a sick day and find some time to finish it, because I think it's got some promise when it comes to more to the game. So I look forward to that. So I am definitely on board with this game. But let's swing it around a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more. Maybe some of the mechanics or some of those special abilities. Maybe Nick can mention about one of those weapons. I did not get a chance to switch weapons, but it did look like there was going to be a lot more fun to it.
Oh, come on. You didn't play with the umbrella?
I did not get a chance.
Yeah, the umbrella does have a trophy or achievement, actually, this was only on Xbox. I'm sorry. So Xbox and PC. This does not come to PlayStation as of yet. I don't know if it will or not, but anywho, yeah. At the beginning, you do find an umbrella, which is a really crappy weapon. There is an achievement for completing the game with it, but yeah, there's other weapons you can find throughout the game, and these are weapons that some of them you do run across kind of just exploring and going through there. And then some of the weapons, I think at least 2 of them, I want to say, are ones that you have to kind of go out of your way for if you want to get them. And they're not too difficult to get. It's just they're not on the straight and narrow, right? If you're just following the linear line to the end of the game, you're not going to come across these weapons. So there's 5 weapons in total. You start with the Reaper sword, which is just a regular sword, and you get the umbrella. There's daggers. There's a dual-handed or two-handed sword, and then there is what's the last one? It is something.
Isn't it the axe?
Yeah, I want to say it is an axe. Yeah, it's kind of like a heavy axe or something like that. But
or maybe a heavy mace or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's an okay weapon. I can't remember if it's a mace or an axe or something like that, but it's an okay. They're all. It depends on what you want to be, right? If you're going to use more of the magic or something like that. Did you find what it is, Patrick?
Wasn't that the thunder hammer?
The thunder is a hammer. There you go. Yeah. Maybe it's something that a club of some sort. But yeah, so they all have their goods and bads to them, right? If you're looking for more DPS output, your two-handed great sword is going to be your the one you're going to roll with, which is the one that I ended up going the rest of the game with. That one you do find pretty much, or you can get pretty much towards the end of the game, so it is a late game weapon. But you have crystals too that you can find that will up your vitality. You'll find crystals that will up your magic powers. There's 4 crystals you have to find to complete one segment of that power. So you can upgrade those twice. So you can get, I think you start with like 4 health. You can get up to 6 health. And I think you start with 4 magic. You get up to 6 magic. And so magic abilities, yeah, there's a lot. There's 4 of those that you find. You'll come across. You'll come across the bow, the bombs, the hook shot, and the fire. And what's cool about that too is, and I don't want to give a bunch of the secrets away, but you can upgrade those. So I won't tell you how to do that, but you can upgrade those and they become more powerful. So, and that again, that is something that you have to go out of your way for. You don't necessarily have to do that. You don't have to upgrade them and make them more powerful, but there is a way to make that happen. So there's a lot of exploration in this game too. There's a lot of places that are off the beaten path that you can find. And like I said, it's kind of Metroidvania-like because some places maybe requires the bomb spell that you don't have yet to get through a broken door or something like that, or requires the fire spell, or requires the hook shot or something like that to get to these various locations. So you might come across and be like, oh, hey, there's a thing over there, but I can't get to it. Well, now I know I need to come back here later when I get that ability and I can get whatever is there. Now, it's not necessary. Of course, you don't have to do that, but of course you can if you want to be a completionist, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but
that kind of leads into that whole no map thing. Cause that really, I would agree with you. That irritated me the most because I'd be like, oh, there's a wall that I can't get through. I'm going to need the bomb for that. Or, the other things later on. And I'll try to remember where it's at. And I got further in the game and you could get that. And you're just like, where did I see that? Where did I see that? And I'm like, I don't want to, I find myself going, well, I don't feel like circumventing the map for another hour to find it. I don't want to run all the way back over to the witches area to go blow open the wall or something, or the pads, the little pad areas that you could see that you can't get to because you don't have the abilities early on. And I'm just like, that's probably my biggest complaint. I wish they would have added a mini map, not even necessarily a mini map, but maybe a map that says you are here. And that way I can go, okay, I could come back to this spot later once I get this ability so I can get over to that stuff. So I get to those things, those items, or that other part of the map I couldn't get to yet. So that's my biggest complaint of this game, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, the bosses are hard, but that's what makes them fun because they're not, in my opinion, the regular enemies aren't hard. The regular enemies are pretty cakewalk. They all, do their special little abilities, and you just got to learn how to either dodge the attack that's coming in and get in there and whack them a bunch of times and kill them.
It's when they get a herd of them, when they're popping those doors out. That's when I had my big problems.
See, I didn't have that problem. I just ran them in circles around each other and pinned them in a corner and then just beat like 3 of them up at one time. But I would just say the map thing drove me the nuts the most. And the bow, in my opinion, early on in the game is extremely helpful because you're going to run into those exploding bases and stuff that you don't want to get near, and things like that. So it's pretty useful. And part of the early game, you can't even get through without having the bow or the fire spell, I guess. I don't want to give too much away, but you use the bow to light things and
just give it
away. Or the fire spell, So you have to, in the early game, you'd only have the bow when you get to that area. So you have to use it to do these things. So I think it's all well. It's a puzzle game. It's got all kinds of crap. And I didn't think the bosses were as bad as Dark Souls, in my opinion, because Dark Souls made me go, screw this game. This game frustrated me a few times on the bosses, but it wasn't enough to make me go, I'm done. I'm not coming back to this thing. It was more just like, I'm going to put this down. I died like 3 times already. I know what I need to do. But my brain just says, get in there and whack the shit out of that guy. And you're like, whack him 3 times. And you're like, I know I need to roll out, but I'm going to get that one last whack. And then you're just like, well, I was being a dumbass and stayed in too long, So, I mean, I like it. It's a good game. And I'll agree. It's going to stay installed for a while until I can get more time with it and, and beat it the first time through without going through and getting all the tablets for the true ending. So, it's a good game. Everybody's rating it pretty high across the board. Everybody is, and I think it is a pretty great game. It sounds like Shane's about the only one who's big poo-poo out of this group on that one.
Yep. Today I am going to be the Russ. I did not like the game. It will be deleted as soon as I say, see ya, it's gone. But like I said, it's not that it's a bad game. It's just a game that I'm not good at. Like you were saying, Pat, you get 1 whack, 2 whack, 3 whack. Screw it. I can get that 4th whack. Nope, you can't. You're dead. That's my problem is I have a bad tendency to try to get that 1 extra. And that's me. That's a me thing. That's not blaming the game. But that forced exploration is the biggest annoying factor to the game. Even just a little, click on the stick or something, and it gives you an indicator of the direction to go or something would have been nice. When I died the first time, when I got to the right before the first boss and you had all the doors popping open and these guys are all swarming out, I died there. And then I could not figure out where the hell to get back because it seemed like I was going in circles. And then I got lost. I was like, oh, I found one of the health one-ups there in the very first level there. I'm like, cool. Well, at least I found that. But still couldn't figure out where the hell to get back to where I was. And then finally, I found a couple things recognizable, and I got back to where I was. And but that drove me just goddamn up the wall. I mean, that's just unacceptable, in my opinion. But I can't hate the game for my lackings on it. I mean, if it's a bad game, is a bad game. This is not a bad game. It's just a game that I'm bad at.
Right. So. I will say the exploration, in my opinion, is part of the best thing about the game, except for the no map, because I have trouble finding one way to get back to where I was at. But I mean, there's so many little hidden areas in this game. Like I'll be running through and I'm like, oh, that's a dead end wall. But then if you keep running, there's like a little hole in the wall you can't see, and you pop out the other side and you're like, oh, there's like stuff in here. Let me go grab all this stuff. So there's so much of that, like secret hidden things. You're like running around a path and you're like, oh, this dead ends. But if you just hug the path just right, he'll find like a little nook in there and get around it. And you're like, oh, okay. So there was something over here. You just can't really see it due to that isometric locked in top view. You can't really see like what's straight ahead or what's around the corner because all you could see is that. So a lot of times you're finding like little ways off of a platform or something to drop down onto like a lower platform and you can go around. So I like that. The only problem I have is that I'm like, oh, I can't get there. I need to remember to come back, but I don't have a map to go, okay, I need to go back there. So the map thing is the only thing I would complain about in this game. Everything else, it's an interesting concept. The colors play really well with it. Lots of exploration. The bosses are hard, but not too hard. And they break it up. The monotony gets broken up, as Nick said, with different powers and different magical attacks and different weapons. So if you don't like playing with the bow, just wait to get a magic ability to replace it with. If you don't like the sword, wait till you get the two-handed, or hunt out the hammer, or hunt out the rogue daggers, or all these other weapons that you want. And then the little bit of RP elements, or not role playing, but RPG elements, where you can upgrade stats on your most things. So if you like to cast the magic or the bow, then you can put it into that. If you like to swing your sword, that if you're anti-Shane and like the dip, dive, duck, dodge stuff, throw it in that, So there's all kinds of, there's something here for everybody, I think. I'm not a Souls fan. I dislike Dark Souls games, but this game to me is pretty fun.
I can't dodge a wrench.
Well, let's see, to kind of put it in summary, Shane doesn't like the game because he doesn't have anybody there to res him.
No, I don't like the game because I can't keep my ass from dying to be rest.
He can't dodge the giant octopus tentacles. So if he can't dodge a wrench, he obviously can't dodge an octopus tentacle.
I don't
which
watch
is the
enough.
size of a tree.
I don't watch enough hentai to learn how to dodge them tentacles.
But that first boss teaches you. Right. No. That first boss is a pretty good indicator about what you're going to do, because it has to be strategic. Anytime you get locked in with a boss or a mini boss, it's all strategic, because that's what I learned. First time I ran in there, I'm like, oh, cool. Not knowing that it was supposed to be strategic, I ran in there and did the exact same thing. I started beating the crap out of that. And then the tentacle dropped, and I'm like, oh, it almost hit me. And I'm still beating on it. And then this next side, the tentacles are just constantly doing this. And I'm like in between them. So I'm like, I'm in a good spot. Next thing I know, she's spinning around in circles, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm an idiot. I'm still stuck inside of her range. So, but then after the first death, I'm like, oh, it's one of these games, because and immediately when you die, you get the big red death on the screen. You're like, is this Dark Souls? Because every time you die in a Souls-like game, it's like you died or death across the screen. And that's what this game did. So then I Googled it a little bit, and I'm like, okay, so everybody's comparing it to Dark Souls. I hope not. But it's not, in my opinion, it's far from. It is difficult bosses, but it ain't Dark Souls difficulty, in my opinion. Because Dark Souls difficulties, even the minions are a huge pain in the ass. But these minions are pushovers in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah, as much as I like this game, I would agree with you guys as far, especially Pat, with this game needs a map. I mean, there's just, and it doesn't have to be a mini map. It could just be an overworld map saying, like, exactly what Pat said, like, you are here. Like, okay, I know I need to go this way. There are signs and stuff that they do have that say, marshes are this way or that's that way or whatever. But it's really easy to get lost. I mean, no matter how much I played and loved this game, there was several times where I was probably went in circles several times going, where is this thing that I know is here, but I can't find it. So other than that, though, I really enjoyed it. I will give you one hint for anybody listening. Most projectiles that the enemies shoot can be knocked back to them. So Patrick was talking about the pots that shoot the balls. You can knock the balls back into the pots or other enemies, right, as well as like the mages that shoot their projectiles. You can actually hit those back to the mages. So there's a lot of that. I found that out after
an hour of getting my ass shot.
Yeah, I mean, those were fine. I'm just talking about the exploding pots. You don't want to whack those with your sword, because there's nothing you can do. You're going to take damage, and you only get 6 health blips at any given at the max. You start out with 4, so if you get hit with 1, there's a health pot. There's a health tick missing, and those little, because you can plant seeds. That's not a giveaway. It's part of the main mechanic. You can plant seeds and they grow flowers, and that's how you get health. And the good thing about that is that they regrow. So you plant them one time and you go off and explore and come back, you can re-grab them again. So that's really good. So it lends well to the exploration part of it, because if you're going to come, you're going to come back to that area. I plant at every pot I find. So I'm making sure that I'm finding all the seeds. I plant at every pot. So when I come back, I come back, I'm going to grab that seed, that plant that I've already planted, and get the health back. Because if you die, basically you res at the last door that you opened, so doors act as like save points almost. So those are your kind of like save points. So remember, if you find a door, that's where you're going to respawn if you die. So hopefully you find the door nearest the boss, so you're not running all the way across the map. So definitely an interesting concept for a game. And I liked it, lots of exploration. So lots of exploration is really a plus in my game, but exploration without a map is a huge negative.
Yeah.
Yep. That damn door needs to die so she can bring her map.
Well, I think overall, I mean, for me, this is it's a Game Pass game, so I mean that's definitely great. I would put a $30 price point on this easily. I think it's worth 30. I mean, for I think those games that come to Game Pass that are kind of similar to this, I think all of them are in that $30 price point. So I mean, it's a buy for anybody that loves action adventure, exploration, isometric. I mean, some people just love the games because they're isometric. Well, this is a very well drawn, well graphically looking game. It kind of goes between this like dark kind of process, but then it has these moments that are just hilarious and this colorful map. So for me, it's definitely a buy and definitely a Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, absolutely download and play this game.
Yep, I agree. I would get this game on Game Pass.
Yep. See if you like it. It's definitely worth to check out, and if you're a completionist, this game's going to take about 10 to 14 hours to beat if you're a completionist, I would say. But if you're just a running through type person, it's going to take you about 7 to 8, I would say. So just plan on it. That's why I would say that it's probably, I'm in the game with Russ. It's probably a $30 game because of the length of time, but it's a really honestly cool concept for a game. It's not an original concept, but it's got it takes a little borrowing from everywhere, I think. So that's what kind of makes it a little bit unique.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree 100%. This game is actually only $20, brand new. So it's definitely worth the price, $20. And, as Patrick and Russ said, it's worth 30. So clearly it's, even if it wasn't 20, we would definitely spend more for it. So, yeah, but I would agree. It's a really great game. And if you don't have Game Pass, like I said, it's only $20 and it's a great $20 buy.
Hell, for $20, get Game Pass, play it, a few other games. You're good.
Yeah,
to
you
go.
get Game Pass for $9, right?
Yeah.
Not $10, basically
$10.
$9.99, I think. So $10. So if you spend half the cost of the game to get access to a whole bunch of games, and if you don't like this one, guess what? You have a whole library to pick through.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all big proponents of Game Pass, and this is another reason why we love Game Pass. Look at this game. So
Microsoft, don't forget who we are.
we need some of that Game Pass swag. Well, cool.
We took out Don Matrick.
Well, awesome. Anybody else got anything else on this one? I think we've talked about as much as we can without going into spoiler territory on the different bosses and all that kind of stuff.
Nope. The developer needs to watch Dora and find out how to use a damn map. That's about all I got.
Dora didn't explore this place. She gave up without a map.
Nope. Saw that crow swinging a sword. Said, nope, I'm out.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and let us know what you thought. If you played this one, let us know your thoughts. Do you think it's as difficult as Dark Souls? Yay, nay? What do you think? And if you agree with us on the map, or you think that we're all just a bunch of pansies and need to man up and learn to not ask for directions. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.